It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it's great to have you in studio with us today. John Moffitt with the Patriot Guard Riders is here. Welcome back.
Good morning, Paul. Thank you.
It's been a couple of years.
About two.
About two, yeah. I think Kyle Benedict interviewed you guys last
Yes.
time you were in, yeah. So we thought we'd have John come back in because we do the Patriot Guard Rider stories all the time when you're looking for volunteers for the flag line. And I thought it'd be kind of nice to bring you back in and just kind of refresh everybody's memories on what the Patriot Guard Riders are, what they do, who they are, how to volunteer, and donations and all that good stuff, and just give the rundown again so people don't forget. Good website for you is azpgr.org. That'll get you in touch with the Arizona Patriot Guard Riders. I went to the website this morning, looked at it for a few minutes, and lots of information on there. Let's start at the beginning. How did the Patriot Guard Riders come about? What happened?
It was originally formed now probably about 15 years ago out of Kansas as a result of protesters that were showing up at funerals for KIA, killed in action soldiers and troops from Iraq and Afghanistan. And there was a group of people that were showing up at their funerals picketing and holding up signs saying you deserve to die and God's punishing you, things like that. So the Legion, actually the American Legion Riders in Kansas formed the Patriot Guard Riders to have flag lines to protect the families from these protesters.
Okay.
And it eventually grew into a national organization.
It's just kind of streamed across the country then.
Yes.
So the word guard actually has quite a bit of meaning too. Patriot
Yes.
Guard Riders.
Guarding the patriots and their families.
So how does that work?
And initially, what we would do is we would form a flag line right by where the funeral services would be. And if there were protesters, we would block the protesters from the family. So if protesters did show up, the family couldn't see them, couldn't hear them.
Okay, all right. So you just bring
And
sort
of course,
wall.
we're on motorcycles too, so if the protesters got loud, we could get louder.
Oh, okay, all right. Now, have you had any troubles?
We've had not for a number of years in Arizona. The last threat of a boycott or protest, not boycott, but a protest, was when the RNL 19 died. The firefighters died 2 years ago.
Okay.
And there was a rumor that this group was going to be coming out from Kansas to picket the funeral or the funeral services of the RNL 19. And we had literally hundreds of PGRs show up for flag lines for the three services that they had, and there were no problems at all.
How far away are you from the service? I guess you're just right across from wherever the picket is. That's where you're standing.
Yes,
Yeah.
but if there's no pickets, generally what we do is our flag line is right by the service, usually 50 feet, 25, 50 feet. And we don't show up unless we're asked. And that's the other thing is, otherwise we'd become like a counter-protest. So the family's got to request our presence for us to be there.
You get requested quite a bit. I mean, sadly to say, but I've done quite a few PSAs for you over the last couple of years.
We do statewide, we do about 200 a year. Locally, in the Yavapai County area, we probably do a few dozen a year.
Okay, we're going to talk about, there's a couple coming up soon that we'll be talking about as well. But yeah, I remember last time you were here and you were interviewed by Kyle, I thought, okay, we should probably be doing these every single time you've got one coming up, just to show our respect for the patriot that's being buried and to help out. So we've been doing these stories where you're looking for volunteers for the flag line.
Right.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about the flag line stuff. We talked a little bit about it, that you guys kind of, I guess what I'm wanting to do now is not have people worried about showing up and having maybe protesters shouting at them and stuff. But the family contacts you first.
Right.
How do they do that?
They can either, if it's in northern Arizona, which would be Yavapai County North, they can contact me directly at prescottbikers@hotmail.com, or they can go on the state website, azpgr.org, and request a mission.
Okay.
Or they can go on the national website, which is patriotguard.org. And again, there's a link to request a mission. And when they request a mission, we'll go out to state captains, to ride captains rather, and a ride captain will be assigned to handle that mission.
Okay. Okay. And then as a volunteer, I just show up. Now, the way I word the PSAs for you is, and you do a great job of sending out those press releases because it's just copy, paste, and edit a little bit. There's always a time, like a staging time, where we arrive. I guess the volunteers arrive,
Right.
and then we're told exactly what it is that we're going to be doing.
We'll have a staging time. For every mission, we'll have a staging time and location.
Okay.
And then we have a briefing. We talk about the fallen person that we're there to honor. And then we have the time for the flag line to be up. And the flag line will be up anywhere from as short as 15 minutes to sometimes as long as an hour, depending upon the service and what's involved.
Let me ask you this: how's turnout been?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And a lot of it due to Yavapai Broadcasting helping us get the word out.
Good. I'm glad to hear that it's working because I'll write those stories up, and then I know I send that to Brad over on KVRD, and then Brad will air that additional times too. So we think it's important that people volunteer to come out and do something like that. What got you involved in the PGR?
When I was still working for the city of Prescott, when I had available time or some vacation time I could take, I would go to a PGR mission, and I just got hooked on.
Were you volunteering at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's all volunteers. We're all volunteers.
Okay.
Even now.
Well, I guess you are volunteers, but I guess you seem more formal now because you're the assistant. What are you?
Assistant State Captain for.
You're assistant state captain, so I mean you've got a title and everything. So you're not just a volunteer. But anyway, so okay, you went to a few, and it hooked you.
I saw what we did for the family, the support that we give to the family. Now because protesters don't appear in Arizona or haven't appeared for years in Arizona, over there more so to support the family and to honor the fallen. And that's our primary purpose right now, is to honor the fallen.
How long have you been with PGR?
About 12 years.
12 years, so almost as long as it's been here or around.
It was a few years old when I started in Arizona.
Right.
But near the beginning.
How strong are you guys? How many members?
We have
male and female, men and women?
Men and women.
Okay.
You don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to ride a motorcycle. You can show up in a car or a bicycle or walk. But we have about 2,000 members in Arizona, and it's hard because we don't have dues, because we don't have a formal membership list. It's really hard to get an exact count. But we have roughly 2,000.
Wow, that's pretty
But that's statewide. So something that happens in the Verde, we're not going to see many people from Tucson or Sierra Vista or Lake Havasu City come to the Verde.
But you do. You travel across the state.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some big PGR missions come through the area, where it's almost like it's like a relay going on.
We call that the Pony Express, where we're transferring the remains or the cremains or
Exactly.
the body
That's what I'm
of the
talking
veteran, and we'll transport them. We've had 2 so far this year. We were transporting them across country. One went from California to Georgia. Another one went from, I believe it was Michigan to California. And we'll pick them up in Arizona. We'll pick up the transport and transport them to the Arizona-California line, or Arizona-Nevada sometimes, and then hand it off to the PGR in that state.
Oh, that's really nice. That is really a nice.
The other interesting thing, Paul, is that we don't just do veterans. We also do first responders. We'll do flag lines for first responders.
Oh, why don't we come back? Let's take our break and we'll come back and talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Maybe that's a good place to take a break real quick, okay? Patriot Guard Riders John Moffitt in studio today. This is Countywide. Website for you is azpgr.org. Stick around, Countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes, B, console her,
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
Welcome back to County Line. Great to have you in studio today. Patriot Guard writer John Moffitt, azpgr.org is the website to go to for more information. Before we took the break, you talked about it's not just about fallen veterans, it's also about our first responders.
Right.
So tell me about that.
We provide flag lines, again, at the family's request, if requested by the family, not only to veterans or active duty that are fallen, but also to first responders, police and fire. So if a policeman or fireman, firefighter dies and the family requests a flag line from the PGR, we will provide a flag line for their funeral service or memorial service.
Okay, and then you said you wanted to talk a little bit about escorts as well. You offer escorts.
Yeah, we do offer escorts. We have certain restrictions because it's only allowed by state statute. And under the state statute, we can't escort first responders. We can only escort veterans, fallen veterans.
Okay.
But we do provide funeral escorts for fallen veterans if requested by the family.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the funeral procession.
Basically, the funeral procession,
Okay,
yes.
so you're at the funeral and then you ride with the casket
From the mortuary to the
remains.
church or the cemetery, and we have certified road guards. So we have a training program for anyone who wants to be a road guard that's been in the PGR for a while, and the training program is roughly 6 to 9 months.
Okay.
And then you become certified by the state to be a road guard.
What's a road guard?
We have red and blue lights and sirens on our motorcycles and reflective vests that say military escort. And we do traffic control. We hold intersections for the funeral procession.
Okay, so you make sure the funeral procession gets from A to B without
stopping.
Without stopping. Okay, all right. So that is what a road guard is. You have. Let me ask you this before we get into this, because I know there's different positions. Like we just talked about the road guard, and I know there's tail gunner as well. So we'll get to that in a second. But I was kind of curious, how, as a volunteer with the PGR, Patriot Guard Riders, how do I know when I'm needed? Because you said the list is kind of, we don't really know how many members.
If you go to the national website, which is www.patriotguard.org, and you sign up there, and again, there's no cost to sign up. Sign up and you will get an email from National PGR whenever there is a mission in the state of Arizona.
Oh.
And then if you contact me at Prescott Bikers at hotmail.com, what I will do is I'll put you on a master list for Northern Arizona. And whenever, in our area, whenever we have a PGR mission, I send out notices to everyone on my master list.
Okay, and I'm on that list, I think, too, because you send me the same press releases. Okay, so that's where I get that information from, and then I let the folks know that you're looking for flag line volunteers.
Right.
Okay, all right, that's easy enough. Now, there's different positions within the PGR. Like I mentioned, there's the road guard, but then I noticed the word tail gunner comes in.
Well, first there's the general members, which are...
Okay, yeah. So tell me the different kinds of positions there are.
Okay, there's the general members, which are the vast majority of the PGR members.
Okay.
And they're the folks that show up on flag lines. And we'll sit there and we'll hold a flag for a service, during a service. And then the next group of people, not necessarily in order of priority, are road guards, which are certified by the state to do traffic control and assist in escorts.
Okay.
We also have ride captains and they're the people that are responsible for dealing with the family and setting up how we do a mission, where we do it.
That's got to be kind of a sensitive position to have then, because you're dealing directly with the family.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does that involve? Let's go into that one a little bit more, the captain.
That involves dealing generally with the mortuary of the church, the cemetery, and the family.
Okay, we're talking about
finding out where we're going to stage, what time, because we want a flag line up. Usually, again, every mission is different, but we usually want the flag line up when the family arrives. Mm-hmm. So we've got to get a location to stage as well as a time to stage.
Okay.
And then a time for the flag line to be up, so it's up when the family arrives.
And that's all up to the captain to get put together.
The right captain.
Relay to everybody else. Okay, so after captain?
And then there's, we have senior road guards.
Okay.
And they're in charge of the road guards at a particular mission.
Okay.
And we also have tail gunners, which are also road guards, the certified road guards also. Mm-hmm. And whenever we do an escort, they will be the last vehicle, and it's generally a truck or a car. They'll be the last vehicle in the procession.
Okay.
That way, what happens is when the procession comes through, we know who to look for. We, the road guards, know who to look for to be the end of the procession.
Oh, gotcha.
So we know
sense.
when to leave the intersection.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
And we also have assistant state captains for each area of the state. And then we have one state captain.
Okay. How many volunteers do you have in Yavapai County?
I have roughly 200 people on my email list. Mm-hmm. And it's more than that because some of those people are in groups that let other people know in their organization about a mission. Two in particular, for example, would be the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, CVMA. I have about 4 or 5 of them on my list, but they let everyone in their group know. And the CMA, Christian Motorcycle Association, the same thing. They're very active, particularly in the Overguard and Sholo area. Mm-hmm. I have a few of them on my list, but they let everyone in their group know. So if I have 200 on my list, but
right.
But
so if I contact the PGR, odds are it's not just the PGR that might show up.
Well, it's the PGR.
But these members come from other groups.
But there's other groups, like the American Legion Riders are very active in the PGR. Mm-hmm. And some of our missions, sometimes as many as half of the people holding a flag are American Legion Riders.
I notice you're with like several groups. I want to say like 4
ALR.
groups. What?
American Legion Riders and Patriot Guard Riders.
Okay. All right.
I have different positions, sometimes a multitude of positions.
It's got to keep you busy, though. I mean, okay, if it's not a funeral or a procession, do Patriot Guard Riders get together and do anything else?
We really don't have too much time to do much other.
Okay. All right.
Doing 200 a year, that's about 4 a week.
Oh gosh, I guess if you think about it, really, that's quite a bit.
We are looking at doing a fundraiser later this summer or fall for the Snowball Express, where we take the kids of fallen during the holidays. Mm-hmm. But that'll be the first time we've done something other than a PGR mission in a long time.
I'm sure you'll probably let me know about that, won't you?
And then when you do schedule something, you never know if there's going to be a PGR mission. Mm-hmm.
That's top priority, I would imagine, for you guys.
That's our priority.
Yeah, that's top priority, right? If a
So
PGR
if we
mission
schedule a social event, and then we get a phone call from the family member saying, "Can you stand a flag line the day after tomorrow at my father's funeral?" Then the social event goes away. And
yeah. You ever turn anybody down?
Not up here.
No.
Once or twice in the Phoenix area. Primarily because of last-minute notice, where we've had other missions scheduled. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have one instance where someone called us the night before.
Okay.
And said, "Can you have a flag line tomorrow morning?" And it was just...
It's pretty tough.
We already had 2 or 3 missions that day.
Maybe we should say this. How much notice would you like on something like this?
The more the better.
The more the better. So at least a week?
We can do it on 2 or 3 days notice.
Okay, all right.
But the more notice we get, the better turnout we have.
Gotcha. Okay, all right, that makes sense.
It does take some time to set everything up and get the notice out to everybody.
All right, well, let's take another break. azpgr.org for more information about the Arizona Patriot Guard Riders. John Moffitt, our guest today. I'm Paul David, countywide, back in just a couple days.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos. Go to GetSchooled.com.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left of the program. Again, Patriot Guard writers John Moffitt, our guest today. The website is azpgr.org for more information. Flag lines, we've got a couple coming up.
Right, well, we have two, and both in conjunction with the Vietnam Veterans Welcome Home celebration in the Verde.
Okay.
The first one is on March 30th. We'll have a flag line up at the Sedona Posse Park, to be up and running to welcome the traveling wall when it arrives at the park. And then the second one is on April 2nd, again at the Sedona Posse Park, and that's to have a flag line up to welcome the riders that come in on the procession on the Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans.
That's going to be a big deal. The wall's coming.
It is.
The big wall.
And we've had a flag line up, not the original wall, but...
No, but it's
the big one.
The largest replica of it, yeah. Uh-huh.
And we'll have a flag line for both of those events. We've been there every year, out here in the Verde every year for the Vietnam Vietnam Veterans Welcome Home celebration. You can get information on the staging for both of those if you want to be on the flag line at azpgr.org, or if you email me, I'll put you on my email list and send out reminders on flag lines in the area, including these two.
Now, is that something that if I wanted to see if there were flag lines in the area, is that someplace I could go to, the AZPGR? Is all that information you send me also posted on that website?
Yes.
It is, okay.
But that's statewide.
Okay, right. But, there's ways to localize that and go through it and see what's going to be local. So, okay, all right.
We got to copy everything local, so.
I know. I love it, too. I think it's great, and I've got no problem with doing that at all. I think it's really, to honor these men and women that serve the country is absolutely... We have to do it. Let's put it that. azpgr.org is the website again. John Moffitt,
and you
great
can
to see
access
you.
our calendar through that.
The calendar as well. It's all in there.
Yeah.
It's all in there. That's what websites are for.
There's a link to our calendar.
Right. So azpgr.org. Thanks very much for coming in. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Paul. It's always a pleasure being here.
All right. That's today's Countywide. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and we will talk to you again next time.